Let's start with a controversial statement. Thanos is not just a great villain, he is the single best antagonist in cinematic history. Forget the Joker, forget Darth Vader. They wanted to seize power, they wanted to cause chaos, or they wanted to crush rebellions. Their motivations were ultimately small. But the Mad Titan, his goal was nothing less than the salvation of the entire universe. And that's what makes his story compelling. Most villains are a physical threat. Thanos is a philosophical threat. He forces us to ask, what if the villain is right? In this video, we're going to break down the 5 critical reasons why Thanos stands head and shoulders above every other Marvel villain.
What if the
If
villain
you disagree,
is right?
be ready to defend your favorite in the comments below. The MCU has a villain problem. Most of them are one-and-done characters with generic goals. I want the Tesseract. I want to rule the world. I want revenge. But Thanos broke the mold. He was built up over 10 years, and when he finally arrived, he delivered. The snap wasn't a plot twist. It was the inevitable conclusion of his life's work. His goal wasn't power, it was balance. He saw a universe hurtling towards certain death, and he offered the only solution he believed possible: random, impartial genocide. It's cold, horrifying, but rooted in logic. This brings us to our first and most crucial point. What makes Thanos unique is his unwavering philosophical logic. He isn't insane. He's simply convinced of the necessity of his actions. His planet, Titan, died because its people refused his solution, a preemptive cull. He watched his civilization starve itself into oblivion. The snap is merely him proving his dead civilization right on a universal scale. He's not operating on anger or greed, he's operating on data. Think about that. He had the opportunity to use the Infinity Gauntlet to make himself king, to give himself infinite wealth, or to turn every Avenger into a goat. But he didn't. He used the power to implement his one singular solution, and immediately retired to a farm. This shows ultimate discipline. He achieved his goal and had no desire to relish in power. His objective was fulfilled. He didn't want to win, he wanted to finish the job. Every great story requires tragedy, and Thanos' greatest tragedy is that he truly believed he was the hero. His most heartbreaking moment isn't fighting the Avengers, it's the moment he has to sacrifice the one person he truly loved, Gamora. He didn't want to do it. He wept, but his devotion to his purpose was stronger than his devotion to his daughter. The sacrifice on Vormir wasn't a tactical move. It was an act of self-martyrdom. He accepted the most painful cost to achieve his ultimate goal. He demonstrated that his belief system was more valuable than his personal happiness or love. A typical villain would have found a loophole. A true believer sacrifices their heart. This profound act gave him an emotional depth that villains who simply want to push a big red button never achieve. Hey, before we continue, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the philosophy of the greatest antagonist, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button.
Loki.
We break down complex pop culture ideas every week, and we need you in the discussion. Thanos didn't just walk into a fight. He spent 10 years playing the long game. His strategic genius and patience are unmatched. He wasn't some cosmic threat that suddenly appeared. He was a force operating from the shadows, dispatching proxies like Ronan and Loki, learning the location of the stones, and waiting for the exact moment the cosmic pieces aligned. He knew he couldn't fight all the heroes at once. He forced them to come to him, scattered and unprepared. And his masterstroke? He never sought the stones for power over others, but for the power to perform a single act, the snap. This single-minded focus allowed him to predict the actions of his enemies. They fought for the stones. He fought for the idea behind the stones. In the classical sense of storytelling, The most compelling character is the one who has the most to lose, the clearest motivation, and the strongest narrative arc. In Infinity War, that character is Thanos. He is the active protagonist driving the plot forward. The Avengers are merely the obstacles trying to stop the protagonist from achieving his goal. His journey is one of conviction and fulfillment. When he sits on the porch at the end of Infinity War, he is truly at peace. He's done the hardest thing imaginable, and he is satisfied. He achieved his goal, and the movie ends with his victory.
What is this place?
This inversion of the typical hero's journey, where the villain is the central force, creates a profound level of audience engagement. We hate him, but we're riveted by his commitment. Finally, Thanos' impact fundamentally changed the MCU forever. The actions of the Mad Titan are the catalyst for literally everything that happens in the subsequent phase of the cinematic universe. The creation of the multiverse and Loki, the emotional journey of characters like Hawkeye and Thor, the themes of grief and sacrifice that define Endgame. His legacy is not just a pile of rubble, it's a redefined universe. He gave the Avengers a loss so total, so devastating, that their victory 5 years later felt earned, desperate, and ultimately far more meaningful. A great villain doesn't just lose. A great villain leaves a scar. Thanos left a universal wound that took the biggest movie event in history to even begin to heal. So there you have it. The 5 reasons why Thanos is the most disciplined, tragic, philosophical, and impactful villain Marvel has ever created. He is the standard. Now it's your turn. Do you agree that Thanos is the best? Or is there a different villain from DC, from Star Wars, from anywhere, who you think has a stronger, more compelling story? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to smash that like button if this video gave you a new perspective on the Mad Titan. We'll see you next time.